Amen. Amen.
Mighty
Amen.
God, we appreciate you. We thank you for another opportunity in your presence. We thank you, our Heavenly Father, that has both gender in him or her, for all the things you've done, all the things you're doing, and all the things you're about to do. Father, we commit the ministry of the truth into your hands today as the best maternal being in existence. We receive jaw-dropping confirmation of each and every one of these truths today with appropriate, encouraging results that we make and fire up every era to know that none of us can do anything against the truth. But everything we've done, everything we're doing, and everything we're going to do is going to be for the truth. To you be all the glory, all the honor, and all the majesty. In Christ's mighty name we worship.
Amen.
Let all of God's people out there declare loud amen.
Amen. Amen.
You're most welcome,
Amen.
people of God out there. And I believe the reception is perfect where you are, please.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Yes, it is.
You're welcome. Please turn your scriptures to 2 Corinthians chapter 13, verse 8. And please, if you can see what I'm sharing on this screen, please do me a great favor by letting me know. And I want to believe we all have the service links as well as the updates in our devices and mailboxes, please.
Yes, sir.
You're welcome.
Yes,
In 2 Corinthians
sir.
chapter 13, verse 8, we read what has become a mainstay of the truth in this service of our Lord Jesus Christ. And I always say this, that this is our mainstay here, not because we want to sound different, but because we want to stay true or right. Because once it comes to doing the right thing or what is based on truth, you can never go wrong. What did I say about doing what is truthful or right?
I can never go wrong.
So 2 Corinthians chapter 13, verse 8. Reading in the English version of King James Version, it says, "For we can do nothing against the truth, but for the truth." And I've told us, people of God, over and over, because that is the right thing and the truth, that there are four absolute words here. Four absolute words. The first one is the word we. The second word is the word nothing. The third word is the word against. And the fourth one is the word for, which is opposite of against. Now, what are absolute words that doesn't have any variation? That's why they're either 0% word or 100% word. So amplifying this word, what the Spirit of God is saying through Apostle Paul is this. He says, "For none of us, as well as every one of us adult humans, not forgetting any of us, because those are the words that we need. None of us, everyone or anyone, can do absolutely nothing against the truth. But everything we've done, whether we realize it or not, everything we're doing right now, and everything we're going to see, say, or do is going to be for the truth. And because God makes us to know in the book of Ecclesiastes that there's nothing in this world that doesn't have a reason why they happen. I moved on further to encourage us, to explain to us why none of us can do anything against the truth. And the reason is because truth is the most powerful seed entity raw material entity, male gender entity, situation determining entity, result determining entity in existence. Because at every point in time in our lives, whatever we've gone through, whatever we're going through, there are always 5 situations. How many situations, please? 5 situations at play. That's why I illustrate with our 5-finger hand. There are 5 situations, 5 entities at play. And those are the entities you are seeing on your screen. The entity of fatherhood, the entity of motherhood, and of course, I've told us that this first 2 is what describe and make up God Almighty. It's both fatherhood as well as motherhood. Even though because of the modern nature of English, fatherhood tend to be used for male, but that's not what it means. It's actually male and female. That is why English, being a mother language, doesn't have an adjective that describes dual gender. So the best way to represent God is to say him or her, he or she, because God is both dual gender and non-gender in his function, in his ministry, in his or her services. So the first 2 describe God Almighty. Then the third one, which is the entity of interest, is the male entity or the seed or raw material entity. And when you look at it on your screen, you see that it's in the middle, and by its nature is the one that started that situation. You are in right now, and you will always be. Of course, the fourth, which is the grand transformation entity, and the little finger entity, which is the result. But you see, being in the middle, male entity carries the other 4. The 2 before, 2 after, 2 greater or lesser, depending on the situation that you find yourself in. But by its nature, is a starter. That situation will never have been in existence. That feeling, that reaction will never have been in existence without the male entity. But most importantly, the result you have gotten, the result you are getting, the result you are going to get in your life is as a result of these male entities. So where does truth comes in? As the most powerful seed entity. 3 things. All the other 4 entities, courtesy of truth, fatherhood, motherhood, ground, or result, in our lives and situation, we always subdue, overcome the fatherhood, the motherhood, the ground or result entity that other male entity brings. That's number 1. Number 2, any and every situation that came to existence in our lives, courtesy of the truth, is what will last. All other situations, courtesy of other male entities, they are going to have an expiry date. Whether it's real or unreal, spiritual situation, natural situation, in our emotions, in our will, in our intellect, in our body, once is not as a result of the truth, they have an expiry date. And finally, the reason why none of us can do nothing against the truth is because the result we are getting, we know we are getting right now, and the result we are going to get in our lives throughout our existence is the results that are courtesy of the truth that is going to last. No matter what any of us is enjoying today, if that result is not based on the truth, in fact, the bigger the result, the greater the pain and the fall of it, if it's not based on the truth. So I hope once again, as understanding is reflected on why none of us can do nothing against it, but everything we've done, everything we've done, everything we're going to do is going to be for the truth, please.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
I also moved on to established that based on none of us can do anything against the truth, but for the truth. There are four situations that are inevitable. And that's what we're seeing on our screen. No matter who you are, that's why I put under the title as usual in brackets, because it's always been there. No matter how nice you are or nasty, no matter how smart or stupid you are, no matter how righteous or unrighteous you are, each and every one of us will face situations we don't want and we don't deserve. We want, but we don't deserve. We don't want, but we deserve. And we both want and deserve. But this is where challenge of life comes in. When those situations come, what do? Out of weakness, naivety, carelessness, did you lose any of this for when they came? Or out of outright knowing what you're doing, did you destroy them dead on arrival? Or after a while, you change your mind and decide to put an end? Or did you sustain it? Listen to me, people of God. Please listen. What I'm about to say next, let's take it very serious for our own good. I hope everybody can still hear me very well, please.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Yes.
What is inevitable is that these four situations will come. But what is your and I's responsibility is any of these three that you did to it. And each and every one of us, whenever any of these four situations come, we will do one of these three at every point in time. Not God, not other people, not angels, not demons, and not circumstance. It is you. That is why there are unwanted and undeserved situations that we lost when they came. We are the one that lost it. There are unwanted and undeserved situations that came and we use our hand to pursue it and destroy it. We are the one that did it. Not God, not other adults, not angels, demons, or the circumstances itself. And there are unwanted and undeserved situations that is still reigning in our lives till tomorrow. That is not going to go away. Because we are the one that decided to do what? Sustain it. How we are still together, people of God?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Now, adding to that, people of God have told us the worst of this situation, which is, or the lowest, which is the unwanted, because the worst will be negative, what you want and deserve. Okay? The lowest, which is unwanted and undeserved, you will notice that this is the only one that doesn't have a positive side.
Yes, sir.
Which means that these situations are actually from the greatest to the worst, 7 in number. The best being positive, what you want and deserve, positive, what you don't want but deserve, positive, what you want you don't deserve, then what you don't want you don't deserve, then negative, what you want but undeserved, negative, what you don't want but you deserve, and the worst being negative, what you want and deserve. But this is where I'm going. For you to be the only negative, it has an advantage. What did I say? This lowest one, but be the only negative. There's no positive version of it. That he has an advantage. Did you get that?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Let me see how smart we are. Who can guess what is the advantage that it has? Whenever You have an unwanted, undeserved situation, or you do something that is unwanted and undeserved to people, or people do what is unwanted and undeserved to you. What is the advantage in those three scenarios over when is the other situations? Bearing in mind that this is the only one that has negativity, there is no positive version of it. That means you can never give somebody what they don't want and what they don't deserve, and you'll be right. Somebody cannot give you what you don't want and you don't deserve, you can be right. And God, be 100% that God is not in it. So, what is the advantage in that? Did you get my question, people of God?
Yes, sir.
So, please, let's go ahead and attempt. What is the advantage in this?
Yes, sir.
Yes, go ahead, please.
I think it's the only one that victory is assured.
How can victory be assured in something negative? No. There's no victory in negativity.
I mean,
In fact, if you are talking about even prosperity or success, success is the wrong thing, is the worst in life, worse than poverty, worse than failure. Which is why the negative or what you want and you deserve is the worst situation that can happen to any of us. Any other attempt, please, of why there's an advantage with this? Being the only one that has negativity, there's no positive version of it. There's no right version of it. There's no God version of it. You are experiencing it, you are doing it to people. You're in a situation like this. God is not in that situation. God is not in that action. God is not in that relationship. So, what is the advantage in that? Meanwhile, the other three can either be divine or not, can either be right or not.
Hello, sir.
Yes, go ahead, man.
I'm thinking that maybe because it's all negative, is there an opportunity for if I'm the one in the situation to replace myself and turn around the situation?
That is it. Let's appreciate that response. That is it. That is it. There's no grade to it. That's the advantage it has. But you see, the other situation, you are not sure, oh, whether this is of God or not. You know, once you are not sure, you won't know whether to sustain it or to destroy it or to let it go. For all the three, you have to go through that stress, probably, or prayer, waiting, or patience. I'm not sure you're getting it. Maybe you are in a relationship with somebody. With the other ones, if it's a relationship you want and desire, you don't know whether this relationship is right or wrong. Whether this marriage is right or wrong. Whether this person I'm following as pastor, not, is wrong. Whether this person I'm following as mentor is right or wrong. Whether these people that my friends are right or wrong. Because it's a situation you want and deserve. The same thing, if it's a situation you don't want but you deserve, or a relationship you don't want but you deserve, it's still the same thing. You don't know whether it's of God or not. And you don't want to be on the backside of God. So you have to go through proving. If it's also a situation, a relationship that you want but you don't deserve, you are not sure, that doesn't make it God. But this one, once it's something you don't want and you don't deserve, it's a clear sign to get out. In fact, you have committed suicide. Please listen to me, people of God. If any of us are in this situation of unwanted and undeserved, and you decide to sustain it, it's suicidal. Because clear cut. God doesn't have it. It's the other three that everyone has their own version. Am I talking to somebody? That's why I said it's a
Yes, sir.
total of 7 experiences that are inevitable. 4 darkness, only 3 is light. So this one is stressless. Let me give you an example. Are you ready to?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
No matter, I keep on saying this, and let me tell you, people of God, don't wait, brothers, before you waste your life, before you learn this lesson. If you have a woman in your life, even if she's not a queen, the scripture says you give honor to whom honor is due. For the fact that she's a woman, you must respect her. The reason why you have not wasted your life disrespecting the women in your life is because their own obedience. They committed what's evil. Most of the time in evil worshiping you and carrying you on their head. But a day will come. They carrying you on their head will either push you or them to do what they shouldn't do. And that is the day you won't know what will eat you. Because no woman deserves to be disrespected. Of course, when it's disrespect, even if the woman is a slave, inside of her, it's not something she wants. That's why she wants to please you as a slave. So you're a woman today. You're in that kind of relationship. Continue. You are the one that committed suicide. God is not in it. Spiritually too. I know the spiritual one is even more challenging because it involves both brothers and sisters. Especially you gospel that has come across the truth that the grace on you as a flock is greater than the one on us pastors. Go and check your scripture. Even if a minister is not a faithful minister, just like even if a woman is not a queen, and this woman is not your wife figure, as long as she's a woman, you respect her. Even if she's your daughter, as long as she's an adult, you respect her. Even if she's your in-law, if she's your neighbor, even if she's your enemy, even if she's your subordinate, you are paying her staff, her salary. Once she's a woman, you respect. The same way. Once somebody is a minister, you respect the person. The person doesn't have to be a faithful minister. The person doesn't even see a whole apostle Paul. Sometimes when we read the scripture, we forget. We treat the scripture like a religious book. We don't know that this is life's manual filled with examples. That if you go a particular pathway, what happened to that person that go that pathway is the same thing that's going to happen to you. See, Apostle Paul always, nobody use Apostle Paul as an example. Let me tell you why. He's the most faithful of the 12 apostles. And the scripture said it. He's the best. Now, he was conscious of he knew he's a faithful minister. He knew as long as a faithful minister, nobody can do him a favor. He knows that. But yet, he passed by a high priest who is supposed to be a pastoral figure. It was God's flock that he pastors around that told him, the person you just know, the person that greeted you that you didn't answer is an high priest. Apostle Paul turned back and apologized. You see nowadays, men trash women. You see God's flock, you trash a minister just because the person is either not your pastor or you used to be your pastor and you are done with the person. Let me tell you, such cases like disrespect, that's why things like disrespect or nastiness to people you can never be justified. Even if you say you are saying how you feel, I hope we're still together, people of God, please.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Even though you might say, oh, this is how I feel. The question is, as long as how you feel is not what you want or the person wants, what you deserve or the person deserve, God is not in it. That's why I always use disrespect a lot. That's how you use nastiness a lot. Because nobody deserves to be disrespected or ill-treated. Even if the person ill-treated you, don't do it back. Because when you do it back, you have joined darkness, just like that person. That person is already in the dark. You to now shutting down the light in you. I hope we're still good people of God.
Yes, sir.
How is social media?
Yes, sir.
So, this is another proof why none of us can do anything against the truth. But everything we've done, everything we are doing is for the truth. I hope we are good people of God.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Now, based on this, that none of us can do nothing against the truth, but everything we've done and everything we're doing is for the truth. We have some updates today that we established ourselves on the truth. But before we start the update, let me just say something about our last update about variety of experiences in darkness. How we can see that on our screen, please.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
And I believe this was a blessing to us the last time,
Yes, sir.
knowing that anytime these things occur. Now, a question came after the service, which I believe is going to help all of us. How social media is good. That's going to help all of us. And that is the question about people taking their own lives naturally, because it is called suicide. That is it included in this category of suicide or not? I hope we understand the question, please.
Yes, sir.
Now, I want to tell us, those people, that nobody, no adult on earth goes the route of taking their own life if not for a disorder, if not for a shutdown, if not that to them there's no tomorrow, that let them end it all, if not for desperation. And all that I've been saying so far, of this fight, what does it describe? Of course, it described implosion. Remember what I described implosion is? When you shut down, when you die inside. That's what makes people to be naturally suicidal. The suicide here, what the suicide here is referring to, is when you take actions that nobody, including God Almighty, can help you out of. Do you understand what the suicide here means?
Yes, sir.
Not
Yes,
the
sir.
natural suicide of people taking their own life. Remember, I told us midweek service that once it's not suicide, you can still reach out to anybody in this level of darkness. It's only people that commits ritual suicide, there's nothing you can do. Even God can help them. So if you see people going through depression, contemplating natural suicide, know that it's an implosion and it's the lowest form of darkness. Reach out to them. If you can reach out in prayer to people who are exploding on you, who are facing situations they cannot explain as accidents, who other people want to destroy them as mothers because they made wrong judgment of projecting those people, or those people have a higher grace than them. That's what determines mothers. The scripture says we should help all these four. So if you can help people that have a higher darkness, how much more somebody that has the lowest of darkness? So I hope that clarity helps all of us, please.
Yes, sir.
I hope this clarity helps all of us, please.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So the first update today is not an update, but I'm bringing it up so that we understand the relationship of our faith to the truth. Because that's the challenge many of us God's people have. How do we balance our faith with the truth? Listen to me, people of God. Even though, please listen very well to this. Even though truth is the most powerful male entity in existence, are we still together?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Even though truth is the most powerful, 23. Even truth is the most powerful male entity, seed entity in existence. In your life, in my life as an adult, is a secondary force. The reason is this: what makes you an adult is your faith. What did I say makes you an adult?
My faith.
My
I think
Again, what makes all of us adults?
My faith.
faith.
And what is your faith? Those things you want to do freely and willingly. That is why, please listen to this, people of God. I'll keep on saying this. I don't know how to say this better than I'm saying it. Are you ready to hear this?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Maybe to help us, by next service, I will give us an audit on this adult's almighty hand. Okay? Truth will still be the thumb of your hand of faith of yourself. But the highest number will belong to the truth. So that maybe that will help us. That is the most powerful force in the but it's a finger on your hand. And your hand, which is you, the adult, is determined by your faith. That is why, let me tell you this. Because you are full of faith, doesn't mean you are not full of demons. Did you get that, or I should repeat myself? Because you are full of faith doesn't mean you are full of demons. Our faith, which makes us as adult human beings, is a container. Because the container is full, does that mean it's full of the right thing?
No, sir.
No, sir.
That is it. And let me tell you, faith is not a religious thing. That thing you are passionate about. Let me tell you this. If you are happy with something, it's not a sign it's right. Get that, people of God. Many of us are on the pathway to destruction because of what I'm saying. Because something makes you happy. When you are seeing it, when you are saying it, when you are doing it, does not mean it's right. Because you don't pray. Let me tell you something about darkness. Satan is a deceiver. Hello?
Heaven high, sir.
Isn't Satan a deceiver?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
But I'm going to shock you with the next statement. Even though Satan is a deceiver, Satan is not an hypocrite. Even though he tells you to be hypocrite, Satan will always come to steal, to kill, to destroy. He will always come to tell you lies. That's why Satan believes and trembles. Because you believe in something, it's a mark that you are walking by faith. When you are not a hypocrite, it's not a mark of righteousness, it's a mark of faith. That is what makes you an adult. A fine adult. Because you're a fine adult doesn't mean you're not going to hell. Because you're a good adult, a good guy, a good woman, a good flock, a good person, doesn't mean God is working with you. Doesn't mean God is for you. It doesn't mean. That is why I brought this and again. Because faith comes by hearing and hearing. So that you will know that even though truth is the most powerful force in life, which none of us can do anything against, it belongs to our hand. And our hand is us as adults. And what makes us is our faith. I'm not sure if I'm able to help our understanding with this illustration.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So you see, that is the reason why truth cannot work for you, even though it's the most powerful force in life, if you don't have faith in it. Because it's a finger on your hand. Even though it's greater than the hand itself, it's a finger. In fact, let me tell you, other people's faith is greater than your own. But it's still a finger in your hand. Because what other people wishes for you, whether blessing or curse, can never work without your faith in them. Just let me tell you this, you will hear this message and you won't be blessed if you don't have faith in the truth I'm preaching, or you don't have faith in my person. But if you don't have faith in my person, if you don't have faith in this truth, you will leave this service madder. I know there's no English like that. I know what the English will say, more mad. But madders looks more powerful than more mad. In fact, you won't know where the hatred that I should take my last breath will come within you. That's how much you will hate me after this service. It's not that I'm telling a lie. It's all a fact. Let me tell you this, people of God. Are you ready to hear this?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Please, people of God, take this into you. If you're not going to take anything today, take this. It's not because you are horrible. I'm not promoting being horrible. It's not because you are horrible. And I'm not justifying people doing wrong. But the truth has to be told. It's not because you are horrible to people, they react to you. It is how they see you. See, there are people in all of our lives. Kill yourself. They will even complain that the way you die, you didn't die properly. And these same people, we have people who are actually killing them. And guess what? They've said, you didn't kill me enough, kill me more. That is who we are. That is why heaven will stand up for every one of us who make it upstairs after our last breath. Because it's not God that took us there. God said it's not his will that anybody should perish. But why are people perishing? God can't do anything about it. Where you find truth is where you find God. But it's a thumb, but it's a finger on our hand of life. If your faith is not in the truth, it can't work. That's why you have people who cried to heaven and there are people who smile to hell. It's all about faith. See, let me tell you this. I've told you this before. If you like, listen. If you like, I will keep on saying it because it's the truth. And wherever you end up, you will know that let me tell you, I've told you, people of God. Do you know my own purpose? As long as wherever you end, if pastor have told you, or if this man, let me use this man, because for some of you, I'm not your pastor. If this man have told me the truth, I wouldn't end up here. That is what must not happen. That's why you see me, even when you don't want to hear it, I will tell you. But as long as you met me and I told you the truth, I'm done. Because my reward, you won't be there. I hope. And if you are there, you will attest to what I'm about to say. My reward is not. It's you that will be rewarded for believing the truth against all odds that I give you. My reward is that when you met me, I told you the truth. Not what you want to hear. Not what will make you to follow me, but the truth. That's why you see Apostle Paul, he said, the only thing that can bring disaster to him is not people's hatred. It is when he doesn't preach the truth. That is why we need to balance. Because that's the problem. We fail to realize that what makes us adult is not truth. It is faith. 2 Corinthians 4:13. Go and check it, people of God. It says the way God has faith in himself, he has given to all of us adult humans to also do what? Have faith. That is why the kind of adult you are, whether superhero or a clap, is your faith that turned you to that. Is that thing. Let me tell you this. Hello, people of God.
Heaven has them.
If what you want freely and willingly is to serve or worship another individual, even if you are living in comfort, that individual is not suppressing you, as long as that is what comes from within you, you are a slave. And let me tell you that people are literally in chains, but they are not slaves. Because that slavery is not coming freely and willingly from the heart. That is why Christ will tell us we should love our enemies, bless them. The reason why Christ is saying so is that it's not what people do that makes you to react. It is how you see them. It's not that, for example, now, people of God, are we still together?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Can a man prove to a particular woman who is supposed to be his wife, if he goes to meet another woman and says all the secrets in between them to the other woman?
No, sir.
Exactly. That is how faith is. If a man does that, it is how he sees the woman, not what the woman did. That's how powerful our faith is. Even though truth is more powerful, truth is greater, okay? But it is faith that drives even truth. Truth is like the cat that you sit on, okay? The coach at the back. But the horse pulling the cat is your faith, my faith. For example, let me give you an example. If this truth I'm preaching now, if I'm not doing it freely and willingly, to you, you will say, thank you for the truth, sir. Oh, thank you, pastor, and all that and all that. Guess what? Demons will be the one that will laugh at me. Because it's not registered. It's not something I'm doing freely and willingly. It's that thing I want to do freely and willingly that is registered. That's why hypocrisy in itself doesn't exist absolutely. It's relatively. It's the person that have faith in you are deceiving. You are not deceiving God, you are not deceiving angels, and you are not deceiving demons. Because the realm of the spirit, they know what we are doing freely and willingly. Just like naturally, you are seeing the color of my attire. That's how spiritually, angels or demons, they see the things that we want to do. That's why, let me tell you this. As an adult, if you want something, you will fight for it. And if you don't want something, no matter how much you are even encouraged to do it, you will still back off. Because all of us are fearfully and wonderfully made. So I hope we understand the purpose of this adults almighty and praise.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Now, midweek service, I brought these two charts in trying to, because before, what we had was what, but we didn't include why. And we did an update. And you know, I asked you that which did you prefer of the two? You remember? And the answer I got after the service is a smart answer. One of you God's flock that I'm privileged to be a pastor asked me that, Pastor, can we have the two? So here you have the two. They are the same thing. Even though I gave them different titles, but they are the same thing. If you are using the hand is itself is what? Because it's what you are doing, what you believe, what you see, what you think that matters. Is that what the truth or not? That's what matters. Why you are doing it, who you are doing it with or to or from, how you are doing it, where you are doing it, or when you are doing it are all secondary. Just like the last one. Even truth and other adults are greater than your faith, but they are still secondary. Because your hand, that hand is your faith, is your hand as an adult. The same way, what is the hand? But why, who, how, where, and when, they are all the fingers of that hand. So let's appreciate that God's flock that asked for this. But if you don't want the what's it called? The hand factor, if not that one you want, then you have the other one, okay? But it's the same information, even though I call that one life harvest principles, it's the same. You can realize that what you sow, and that's what the scripture says, what we sow is what we will reap. Why we sow, who we sow to, how we sow, where we sow, and when, they are all secondary. But you see, it's the same information. I hope this blesses us, please.
Yes,
Yes.
yes, sir.
The next update, study update that we have today, which has to do with an update we just had sometime recent too. Exactly a week ago was when we updated the list of practical adult human being, which is Ahadam. And if you remember, I explained to us what Ahadam is, the practical you and I. That's why from Genesis chapter 1 verse 27, God never used the word Adam again. Because Adam is like the blueprint, it's like a general thing. Okay? Like, oh, as an adult human being, irrespective of gender, you have a body, you have a spirit, you have an intellect, you have a will, and you have an emotion. Okay? That's like what Adam is. But Adam is the unique body plus unique spirit plus unique intelligence plus unique free choice plus unique emotions. But you see, as at that last time, we downgraded it that it's supposed to be 12 from 13 that it used to be. But now we are going back to 13. And if you look at the former chart on your left, comparing it to the update on your right, you will see, can we see the obvious addition?
Yes, sir.
What is the obvious addition?
Confused.
Confused. Thank you, ma'am. Confused, exactly. Now, who are confused? You see, this is one of the power that truth has. Remember, I told you that how you get the truth is secondary, as long as it's what? The truth. In recent times, in fulfilling my purpose, I started dealing with some of God's flock because, to the best of my ability, the way I relate to each and every one, I don't relate to any of you as a group. Even though I might not have met you, even if it's that we're chatting, I don't talk to you as a group. I talk to you. People assume I do that, I don't. The best that you can have under my shepherding is similitude. What you experience might be similar, but it's not the same. What I tell you might be similar, but yours is specific. But that's how God is to every one of us. So, over time, there's been some groups of God's flock under my shepherd and privileged to be there, but that they don't fit any of these 12. They're not superheroes because of the challenge. They're not heroes. They're not innocent. They're not weaklings. They are strong. They are not careless. They are not a returnee that are doing the right thing because the wrong thing they went to didn't work. They are not indifferent. They are decisive people, so you can't call them lukewarm. They are not after their belly, which is what makes a dog. They are appreciative, so it's not that if they are big that we despise any precious things. And they are not nasty people. They are not people that brood over control of another adult in their lives. And they are not the reverse, they are not slaves who believe they should worship another human being, no matter the religion. And certainly they don't worship me. And they are not crabs either, who have made up their mind that they will never change, no matter the unrighteousness. So prayerfully, for weeks now, I've been doing that. Thank God for the Holy Spirit. He's a great teacher. Some days ago, this came. And I noticed that I never even knew that there are vast scriptures that confirm this. With Ephesians chapter 4, verse 16 being number one on the list. Which says, and if in your study, please read it from verse 11. In Ephesians chapter 4, verse 11, Apostle Paul says that when Christ ascended, he gave ministry gifts to the church. He gave apostles, prophets, evangelists, and teachers to be the one that God's flock will follow as pastors. And he explained why God did it. He said, so that the saints can be matured. And that's why there's no way you can reach your fullest potential without a faithful minister. It doesn't exist. How this spirit of rebellion can be? You can't. You've met a faithful minister, it's too late. There's nothing you can do about it. Connect, you are blessed. Disconnect, you face the music. Nobody can deliver you. Because the only higher grace than faithful minister are Jerusalem. And Jerusalem don't have male inside them. So there's no Jerusalem who will pray for you. There's no Jerusalem who will teach you what. And all the other untouchables, they are lower in grace. So somebody that is born again, a follower of a faithful minister, or somebody fulfilling their purpose, can save you. A queen can save you. That queen is your wife, or that queen is your mother. They can't save you. Not to not talk of a guru. They can't. So and when we now read on, verse 14 now says, so that every one of us, the body of saved adults, get to that point of conforming to God's own very image. That is why you are here. You are able to fulfill why you are here, boldly and freely. But you see, that verse 16 now says, so that we will be henceforth not children, tossed to and fro by every wind of doctrine. So when you look at that, it's not talking about weaklings. Because weaklings is when tough times comes, they chicken out. Those are weaklings. It's not talking about careless people who are strong, but they just didn't watch their back. They didn't watch who they are relating with. And corruption set in. And it's not talking about returning. It's just talking about people who are confused. That's what that word tossed to and fro. And for Christ to give we pastors to such people, that means they're in the light. They are not like lukewarm dogs, pigs, beasts, slaves, or crabs that God says we should not have anything to do with them. So I hope we understand the spirit of the update in our place.
Yes. Yes, sir.
I hope we are clear about this new addition now.
Yes, sir.
All right. Moving on, because the next set of updates is a build up on this. Of course, because of the tender nature, these groups of Adam, we had this hand of carefulness. That is, adult that if you ever, either as a pastor them, or you are in one form of relationship, you got to be careful. Because when you touch them, you're actually touching God. But you see, because of the new addition that wasn't there before, okay? Before, we used to use confused for lukewarm, which are people in darkness. And what we've learned as confused today doesn't fit confused. In Revelation chapter 8, what Christ said, because you are neither hot nor cold. Not as if they don't know what they are doing. It's by their choice. They are like trying to serve the two. Not out of confusion, but out of knowing what they are doing. That's not for confused people. Confused people don't know what they are doing. That's the word confusion. When you know what you are doing, you are not confused. It's a deliberate choice. So, of course, with the new definition of confusion, first of all, it's not a flat hand, it's a thumbs up hand, because all the five delicate, fragile adults are people in the light. Because the best among them are innocent. People are pure, totally, who cannot hurt a fly. Now we are seeing that in the update now.
Yes, sir.
Because followed by the confused, followed by weakling, followed by careless. But they careless, they are strong, they know what they're doing. But that's just the word, they are careless. So corruption setting. They are doing the right thing, but they are not getting the testimony they should get. Of course, the least in the kingdom are returnees. Who are returnees? They are still doing what is right, even though their motive for doing it is wrong. Who did I say returnees are, please?
Those who are doing what is right, but with the wrong
Exactly.
Is wrong.
But they're still doing it. Is you doing what is right that matter? Apostle Paul is talking about we. Pastor, he said there are people who preach this truth because of their belly. Say, but as long as they are preaching the truth, it's okay. That's why I always tell you, better fulfill your purpose. Even if your reason for fulfilling it is wrong, fulfill it. It is much better to do that than to say you go for what you feel like, yet is wrong. Ask people around me. There are sometimes I don't feel like preaching, but I know I must do it. There are many times I know what people want me to say that will make them to follow me, to project me, to support me. But I dare not say it. As long as I'm saying the truth, my motive for saying it is secondary. The same way, no matter how your noble your reason, once what you did is wrong, what is wrong is wrong. God is not for you in that situation, even though your motive, just like a man, and you can't disrespect a woman just because the woman misbehaved. It's not in your place. Not in that talk if the woman is a queen. The same way, you can't disrespect a minister just because you realize, oh, your grace as a flock is greater. Especially if that minister is a faithful minister. So I hope we understand the reason for this answer of carefulness.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
And you also notice I changed the color of the hand from red, which is neutral, to green, which is divine. Because these are all the five people we need to watch how we relate to them. They are all people in the light. Do we get it now? Whenever
Yes, sir.
you run into any of these two people, just support them, okay? Help them and give them the knowledge. I hope we are good with this, please.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
The next update, which is like this one, was also one of the updates on the spot during midweek service. Even though what we have as update today was what was supposed to be, but it was while the ministry of the truth was on. If you have listened to last Wednesday service, and I promise that I will correct it. Of course, these are the different manifestations of fatherhood. We talks about different kinds of religion. Of course, the best, which is 100% light, is when the male entity and the female entity are all okay. When it is faithful flock following a faithful minister, a phylogynist married to a queen, or phylogynist married to a queen as who is their wife figure. In your person, you use your sound mind and you have a loving, humble heart. When it comes to the truth, you are honest at the same time, it's for what is right. Of course, like we established during the service, which is where the mistake was. The least bad, the situation, the relationship that has the lowest of demons is the one where the male entity is a minus, but the female entity is okay. You suffered in this world, but you made them. You are stupid, but you are nice. The next one I want to tell you is going to shock you. Are you ready to hear this?
Yes.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
You're a pretender, you are an hypocrite, but you see the right thing you are saying or doing. I know that will shock us. That's why if you know somebody who's an hypocrite, go and check it. You see the right thing they were an hypocrite about, that they were a pretender about. Because you, that you are honest, but in the wrong. I didn't say that one of hypocrisy. I didn't say it's of God. Don't forget. I said it's one that has least darkness. But you that you are honest in the wrong, there's more darkness in your life. Because it's the wrong thing you are honest in. If you are using marriage, a marriage that the woman is a queen, but the men in her life, they are not philogenists, or she's not their wife figure, has less darkness than the one. You now see why many men go for that. Why they will keep women who are not their wife figure in the prison called marriage. Are you seeing why now? Because the men who caught non-queen as their wife figure have a worse result in their life. You see why many men are encouraged to still keep on enslaving women now. But once the woman is okay, she's a queen, it's darkness that you, the men in her life, you don't see her as your wife figure. But you see the darkness for the men who sees a particular woman who is not a queen as their wife figure is more. So that man will suffer most. Of course, you'll be looking at that man. What do you have to show for carrying a woman on your head? Spiritually too is the same thing. Spiritually, I didn't say naturally. That is why, even if you are hanging around me, but I'm not your pastor, you will still have testimony more than the ministry will not be big because it's the flock, the main entity that determines fame, growth. Okay? But there will be blessings, testimony, even though you won't attribute the testimony to me because you are not following me as pastor, but you still be hanging around. Because the demons that your action of being now yet I'm not your pastor is generating. It's not as much as the demons that those ones who 100% follow an unfaithful minister as their pastor. That is it. Because the worst in all that scenario is when both the male entity and the female entity are negative. You suffered in this world, you still went to hell. You are stupid and nasty. You are an hypocrite, yet you are still doing the wrong thing. The men in your life, you the woman, they are not philogenists. You too, you are not a queen. That's the worst. In the church, it's filled with rebellious flock. The pastor too is not a faithful minister. I hope we are getting this now.
Yes, sir.
In a country, the citizens are not serious. Their government too is worse self. Dictators. So I hope this blesses us, please.
Yes, sir.
The next study chart or update we have today is something that the first of our study codes made me to bring it up. Of course, we have a study group of chats. For any of us that has been following me for years now, you know that that's courtesy of the Bible school under the ministry, Bread of Life Academy. So this is one of the study chats from a course about thumbs down. And when I saw the first of the quotes today, I was encouraged. Of course, this study quote, we all know what it means. As a quote, there are sources of truth apart from my humble self. But because it's the truth, it's the what being the truth that matters. But when I saw this, it hit me. And I decided to go into the archive. And I saw that it's exactly the same thing. 140. 139, 140. I hope we can see this on our screen.
Yes.
Let this encourage you. None of us can do anything about the truth. The truth is the truth. This great woman, I got this. I've never met her in person. And when you look at it, it's even a quote from the site. So it's not about copying anybody. That's why I said that if you've been to the Bread of Our Academy of years ago, you would have seen this chart in your courses. Yet exactly the same truth presented in another way. No wonder Christ says, once you grab the truth in any area, that's when you'll be free. Many of us will think we're free. Even the children of Israel, when Christ said that, no, they answered Christ back. They said, we are free people. Christ looked at them and said, you are still in bondage. As long as you don't know what you're doing, as long as even you know what you are doing is to the wrong, you know what you are doing, you are still bound. Which is why you that you know what you are doing, but you embrace it, you are worse than even people that don't know what they're doing. Even people that don't know what they're doing too will be destroyed, but your own. Heaven can't help you because it's a free will thing you did, embracing the wrong. So see this quote and we'll now confirm it with our own study chart, which I call the hand of that because it's a thumbs down, because it's a negative thing. I call this quote life's darkness truth. And I've told you once I bring it truth, that it's because it is safe for you to use the information and build your faith in it. It's not like the other quote that amplifies or waters the food of truth you've eaten. Okay? This is foundational, and you can see it. Going by the quotes, you say, ego, which is pride, prevents you from learning from others. Envy prevents you from focusing on yourself. And you're supposed to focus on yourself as an adult. Because the rule of life that you'll be blessed so that you can be a blessing. The next one, anger or bitterness prevents you from seeing clearly. And it's true. Once you're bitter and angry, no matter, that's how we're designed. You will say what you don't mean, and you won't mean the things you are saying. Ignorance prevents you from making good decisions, and it's true. And the fifth one, say fear does what prevents you from seizing good opportunities because you are afraid of the outcome. It says, get rid of them all. And go and check your scriptures. That's why in our own thing, we actually call it hand of darkness or hand of unrighteousness, because the hand itself is unrighteousness. These 5 things, go and search your scripture. You can never have God work with you or for you in it. Even though you might have God on you or in you, but God is not working with you or for you, be for you. So it's a no. Pride, envy, anger, ignorance, or fear. I hope we are blessed with this.
Yes, sir.
The next study code, which we had on Wednesday, but remember I promised her that I will change. Okay, there's a question. All right, please.
Pastor, I still don't get how an hypocrite can be right.
Okay,
An example might help, please.
all right. So the question from, you see, just like Christ, is religion that thinks when Christ said in Matthew chapter 7, verse 7, that ask and you shall receive, talking about prayer. No. That's why Christ didn't say ask God. He just said what? Ask. So let's appreciate God's flock that answer that question. Because now, and the question is to give examples of how you can be an hypocrite in the right and be honest in the wrong. I will start from one question. Do you know that you can ask a question is different from questioning somebody? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Now, when you question people, you cannot pretend to question people. It's something you want. But if it's somebody you shouldn't question, that you question, is disrespectful. So that makes it wrong. Did we get that illustration now? That's the illustration of honesty but wrong. Did we understand that illustration
Yes,
I
sir.
just gave?
It was breaking, sir.
Okay, let me repeat. I said, just like the great God's flock that asked the question, instead of asking a question, we can also question people. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Good. Now, can you question people out of pretense? No, you can't do it. Before you can question
No.
somebody, it's something you want to do and it's something you are free, you are bold and convinced about. But when it is somebody you shouldn't question, it's disrespectful, it's wrong. So that's an example of honesty but wrong. Now, the reverse, which is hypocrite in the right. This will shock you. People of God. There's a story in the Old Testament, some of you know it. After, which is why we need to be careful as God's people. Even though it's never over with us until we say it is over, we should be careful because none of us is stagnant. I always say it. By the time you are going to bed this evening, July 2nd, Sunday, 2023, you are going to either be better than I'm talking now or worse. That's what happened to King Saul. He forgot himself. It started as a simple disobedience, but he got carried away. up to the point that God recalled the grace, the anointing on him. So to authenticate the new person that God has found, that's why there's nothing like you can't miss it. You never get, even me that I'm sharing it, I've never, in fact, many times I tell the Holy Spirit, the day I get to that point of believing I'm the only one preaching this, Holy Spirit, feel free to give me a slap. Holy Spirit doesn't slap, but it can permit a demon to slap me back to senses. But there's nothing like that. There's nothing like, oh, if not me, somebody else cannot be used. The day you start thinking like that, that's the beginning of your end. There's none of us that God cannot use. And one thing about God, the person that will replace you will even be better than you. That is it. It's Satan that uses his best first. But for God, the glory of the later house is greater than the former. That's why today, July 2nd, being the middle of the year, God expects all of us from tomorrow, the remaining 182 days of this year will be better than the previous 182 days that ended yesterday. That's how our mindset should be. Mistakes that we made, blunders we make up our mind that no more. That we're going to enter into rest and do the right thing. So, God now told Prophet Samuel, go and anoint a new king. I'm done with this guy. But really, it was King Saul that was done with God. He wanted things his own way. Doesn't know that life is about the truth. He had forgotten that it was the same Prophet Samuel that anointed him. Prophet Samuel now told him something, which is one of the reasons why I keep on telling us that the greatest of grace is that of an handmaid. But if you are not extremely humble, you will mess up. Because when you have a God-given grace, that you know that if you snap like this, it will affect your pastor. If you are not humble, it will get into your head. You will assume it's your pastor that needs you. No. If you don't take care of that pastor, you go negative. You become a commander of demons. So it takes extreme humility. Somebody that you are responsible for, somebody that you are the one taking care, to still be somebody that can never go wrong. That's what happened to Saul. He was the one paying the bills. He could order that Prophet Samuel be killed. He's the one that determines his house, his salary, and all that. He forgot that he would not have been king if not for this same Prophet Samuel. And Prophet Samuel gave him a simple instruction. When you go and fight, don't bring anything back to him. If not for me, will he be alive to even give prophecy? He did his own thing. And immediately he did that. Samuel told him, he said, the end of your kingdom has come. You reign your kingdom by your own and by your disobedience. That's where this famous phrase, many people don't even, they just quote it, obedience is better than sacrifice. That is where it came from. So when God told Samuel to go to the house of Jesse and go and anoint David as king, do you know what? What? Yeah. This is going to blow your mind today, people of God. Are you ready to hear this?
Yes, sir.
Do you know
Yes.
what Prophet Samuel told God? He said,
Yes, sir.
if Saul hears it, he's going to kill him. If Saul hears it, he's going to kill him. What did God say? That's God Almighty, who is not a man that he should lie. What God told Samuel, if Saul hears of it, he should tell Saul that he's going to go and worship God in the mountains. Is that not hypocrisy? That's an example of how you can be hypocrite but in the right. I'll give you my example. What I shared during the ministry of the truth earlier today, from what Apostle Paul, he said some pastors, he said they were preaching this truth out of greed, out of power, out of their belly. That's hypocritical. But they're still preaching the truth. The Syrophoenician woman that everybody knew as a commercial sex worker. She poured oil, expensive perfume on Christ as if Christ was a customer, which could have even implicated Christ. Oh, maybe Christ has patronized her. When the disciples out of religion queried, what did Christ tell them? He said, she's doing the right thing. Look at people like Madame Dorcas. Even though Mama Gio, Apostle Peter's wife, is alive and well, was Madame Dorcas the whole church knew as the lifter of the hand of Apostle Peter. Now, we didn't hear any record that Madame Dorcas met Christ. But Apostle Peter's wife met Christ. Christ even prayed for her mom. Listen to me, people of God. As long as you are doing what is right, the motive, approach is all secondary. So I hope all these illustrations are able to show us that it's possible to be hypocritical, but yet is in the right thing. And you can be honest, but
Yes.
yet is in the wrong thing. Another example, it's the story of Lazarus, Christ's best friend's sisters, Mary and Martha. Christ was the guest in the house. Martha was doing normal courtesy. But Mary, the kid sister, was listening to the truth. And Christ, as a perfect philogynist, perfect gentleman, didn't rebuke anybody until Mary, the big sister, knowing that Christ stands for justice, for the truth, reported the sister. I said, Pastor, why didn't you see what my sister did? She couldn't even come to help me. What did Christ say? He said she's done, she's totally a good man, nobody can take it away. Because it's the right thing. The time of hearing the truth shouldn't be the time matter will go for one entertainment. So let's have this truth mentality, righteousness mentality. As long as it's the right thing you do. I'm not saying we should be people that are nasty, hypocrite, but before you talk about honesty, okay, before you talk about niceness, ask yourself, is this right? Just like now, what many of you sisters have been brought up to relate to your husband figure is wrong. But because you are doing it innocently, purely out of it, doesn't mean you are doing what is right. Doesn't mean that those men will not still be destroyed. Which is why, like Christ, in fact, I've told you before, the challenge I've had in almost 40 years of saying this truth have been from sisters. And the reason is this, is because they've been brought up to believe they're inferior to men. So most of them, when they relate to me directly, I'm the first man that will treat them like a human being. They couldn't handle it. None of them can't. And that's why you see many of them, things, I'm serious with this, things that they will not say to any other man in their life, they will say to me. But it's how they feel. But does it make it right? Doesn't make it right. Doesn't make it right. But you see, I've seen reverse of people. Okay? I'm not their pastor. They are around me, but they would never trash me. Even though they are pretending, but they know that it is wrong to do this. So those are life's examples. I hope we understand this, please.
Yes, sir.
So going back to that, so we can see that it is practically possible, even though it's not the best. That's why I said it's the least of darkness. Okay? It's just that it's not recommended. We shouldn't be hypocrite. But when you are an hypocrite in the right, you won't carry as much darkness. It's still darkness, it's still wrong. But the error of being honest in the wrong is worse. I hope we got that.
Yes, sir.
For example, when Psalm
Yes,
107 says, touch not my anointing, when God was saying, touch not my anointing, do my prophets no harm. You can't touch the untouchables or do faithful ministers harm out of hypocrisy. Isn't it? Can you do that? You have to be free to do that. But it doesn't make it right. Of course, I'm not saying being an hypocrite has a place, it does it. It's just that the darkness in being hypocritical in the right is not as mega as being honest in the wrong. I hope we are good with that, people of God, please.
Yes, sir.
yes,
So, going to the next study quote, of course, the one on the left is what we had midweek. We carried the word Christian, and I said that the appropriate word should have been Christ. Because Christianity is a form of religion made from Christ, and Christ didn't bring a religion at all. It's a relationship. You discovering who you are as an adult human being. You discovering who you are, knowing why you are here as an adult, as a man, as a woman, irrespective of your ability, as an engineer, as a scientist, as the artist. That's what you hear. And when you get saved, who are you as a flock or as a pastor? Social media is good. And when you're a flock, are you a conventional flock, a publisher, or an assistant, or an handmaid? That's who Christ, and that's what Christ brought. So I hope we understand why I changed this appropriately to Christ, please.
Yes, sir.
yes, sir.
And when you look at it, you see Christ is about helping others and controlling yourself. But when it comes to controlling other people and helping yourself, that is not Christ at all. Very, very true. The next quote that we are seeing on our right, which I believe all of us will have in our update, is something also that is going to help our faith in the truth. That's why I gave us as a study quote. I hope all of us can see this, please.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
And I called it Christ's purpose. That is the truth about the purpose of Christ. Why Christ came and why you too should be Christ. And this is from a faithful colleague of mine fulfilling his purpose in the nation of India. And see this, he said, now, sirs, any kind of faith in Christ which does not change your life is the faith of devils, and will take you to where devils are, but will never take you to heaven. Very true. This is still emphasizing what I say about choice. See, never feel that you are too intelligent to go to hell. or you are too beautiful to miss heaven. There's nothing like that. It's a result of the choices you freely and willingly make, not what somebody forced you to make. Listen to me, all of us adult human beings, get these people of God. We all as adults have decisions we will not make, even if they will kill us. All of us have that ability. All of us have things we will not do, no matter how much we are blessed, we are enticed, we are giving money to do it. That's why I keep on saying, I'm not saying that people are not going to hurt us, but the way we react to people, it is how we see them. And you cannot see the right person the wrong way and not suffer for it, or see the wrong person the right way and not suffer for it. It's impossible. It's your choice. That's why before you relate or release your faith to a situation or to a person, check it out first. Is this the truth? Is this situation right? Is this person right? And if you're already in the wrong relation, swallow your pride and do the needful. You only have one shot. Life. Even let me tell you this. When you get to heaven, don't need your reward, even though you'll be rewarded for following me. Okay, let me even use maybe you that I'm privileged that I'm your pastor and you're handling my life in ministry. Let me use you as an example. Even though you're being in heaven and being rewarded megally, is that you made sure I fulfill my purpose. I was okay 100% 24/7. I will not be called when you're being rewarded because it's your decision. What God did is to make sure the ability is there. But it's your choice who you use the ability for. Just like the ability to tell the truth is what God gave me. It's my choice to use it to tell the truth or not. So this is what this quote is about, and I believe we are all blessed with this.
Yes, sir.
The next one, I call it faithful minister's truth. Because sometimes some of us have run into that error of assuming that every pastor is a faithful minister. Some go to the extreme that you can't touch every minister. You can't touch faithful ministers. But you see, sometimes we don't know what makes a faithful minister. It's the message that makes them. And that's what this quotes. And that's why the Bible gave us this, so to be able to encourage our faith. And see what it says. It said, a pastor that cares where you will spend eternity will not preach what you want to hear, but what you need to hear. That's over the years. God is my witness. I've had people poison me, physical food, just because I preach what they want to hear. I've had people attempt to take my life. That's why one of the reasons why people like Bibama is a bag of experience. So there are some of these things that people don't know, just because of the truth. I've had people call me names, people being nasty, just because. But it's my choice to do that. So this is how you know faithful minister. It's not about the crowd, it's not about the fame. It's about the content of what they are saying. So I hope this blesses us.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
The next one, which I call sad foolishness truth. Please don't forget why I bring this. They are quotes because they are not for me, okay? But they are the truth. But why I bring these select ones so that they are safe for you to build your faith on. I hope you understand. Build your faith on this, you will not miss it. They are foundational. And I call this sad foolishness truth. I hope we can all see this.
Yes, sir.
And it says, a society is in decay when common sense has become uncommon. Sadly, our country, Nigeria, is like this. Put on the TV, you see the ridiculous kind of movies that is being shown. As if nobody sat down to ask, is this kind of film sensible? You see how men dress, how women dress, how pastors address gospel, how God's flock relate to pastors. And nobody's asking question, does this make sense? And that's what is causing decadence. Because nobody's asking question, does this make sense? Those people, we can make the difference. You can make the difference. Whatever it is, no matter how you feel, that thing that you are saying, you are doing, that thing you want to see, you want to say, you want to do, that thing you have seen, you have seen, past tense. There's nothing like some. Okay, that you have seen, that you've heard, that you have said, and you have done. Ask yourself all these questions. Do these things make sense? I believe this blesses us.
Yes, sir.
The next one, I call it the infallibility of truth. Like being a study coach, don't forget, it's something you can build your faith on. That's why it's not like the other quotes that didn't break up, which is like watering what we're learning today. The infallibility of truth. It says truth is not what you want it to be. I love this. Truth is what it is, and you must bend to its power or live a lie. Can we see the reason why I talked about our faith when we started today, please?
Yes, sir.
That's a question.
Yes.
Because it's actually our faith that makes us to want to believe truth should be a particular thing. But because we expect it to be a particular, it doesn't. I've given you an example of marriage. Okay? When I started fulfilling my purpose, October 6, 1983, what I meant as the gospel concerning marriage is that marriage is horizontal. That the man and his wife are equal. Despite the fact that tradition says men are higher, that is vertical. But when I started fulfilling my purpose, I saw that it's not true. That it's upright. That you sisters are higher. Till tomorrow, women are the ones even fighting me more for this. But it doesn't change the truth. Because society accepts it doesn't make it right. Another one that many people cannot even swallow. My colleagues are fighting me over it. Is the one of the relationship between flock and the pastor. It's who you follow as your pastor that is higher than you, not a pastor. The grace on a flock is greater than that of a pastor. Because the grace on you, God's flock, is that of a fruit. Isn't fruit bigger and mega more than seed? It is.
It is, sir.
So I hope this blesses us. Say truth is not what you want it to be, which is a factor of your faith. Just like honesty, hypocrisy are all factor of faith. But righteousness is a factor of truth. It is what it is, and you must bend to its power or live a lie. That is why, many times, even though the pressure might be on me to look at women in the eye, to take advantage of you, God's flock, but I know the truth. I know I will be doing myself a disfavor. Even though the sisters, the women expect me to trash them. Even though they trash me back because I don't trash them. Because God's flock don't expect me to come down to their level. But I still encourage myself in the Lord because it's the right thing to do. And I believe all of us can do that. The next one, I call it idol worships truth. Idol worships truth. And I hope we can all see this place.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
And this is from a great man of God. That's why I keep on telling you, people of God, that there are faithful ministers out there, and the message is the same. Because it's one body of Christ, it's one God, it's one truth. Because your own pastor or you, God's flock, have not been opened to a certain level of truth, doesn't mean the truth is a lie. And this says, if a man gives you a prophecy and tells you to do what takes away your faith from Christ, and don't forget what Christ, I've told you what Christ is. Based on John's Gospel, chapter 1, verse 12 and 13, he said, truth and grace came via Christ. So anything that takes you away from the truth, anything that takes you away from your purpose, because grace is your purpose, is taking you away from it. See what is going to say? That is idol worship. You see another reason why people find me cure. Because people are used to when you meet a pastor, you worship the pastor. But when they meet me, I almost like I'm worshiping them. I make them to realize who they are, the potential they have. I thank them for fulfilling their purpose. But that word thanks is so mega to them that for this man to be thanking me, that means I'm doing him a favor. No. It's part of my purpose to make you feel good about yourself. It's people that are actually doing otherwise that takes your faith away from the truth, takes your faith away from your purpose. That is actually practicing idolatry. So I hope we're encouraged with these people of God, please.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
The next one, which is one of my best today, I love this. So I call it divine purpose truth. Some of you are going to hurt your feelings today. But just what it is. Just what it is. And this is a quote from, I think he's still the richest man on earth as of now. Am I right, please? Okay. He's the richest man on earth. See what he says. Sisters, I hope you are still there.
Yes, sir.
That you have been damaged to believe that there's prosperity in getting pregnant. But some of you are sisters, you are so damaged. It's not just that you believe prosperity is in marriage, in getting pregnant or having children. If the children can be split image of your husband, that's when you are going to heaven. You have been damaged. It's all a lie. I've told you, even for men, marriage is required. For you, women, is selective. Not to talk of childbirth. It's the upbringing, setting example for children. Okay? That is a compulsory, not having a children. Not the pregnancy. Not who the child looks like. I hope we are good with that, please.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So look at what the richest man on earth. He said, instead of baby showers, let's host business showers. Sister, are you listening?
Yes, sir.
Because a woman get better, you start doing
Yes,
baby
sir.
shower. When they want to marry too, they will be doing space dancing and all that. You are not created for this. This is what you are created for. In fact, let me tell you, if not for religion, hello, people of God, if not for religion, that
Yes,
has
sir.
damaged all of us, the only spiritual figure sef that you will ever have had in your life as are just your pastor. Not even the fellow flock or one church gathering. You will just have been who you are following as your pastor, as a saved adult, that you would have the only spiritual figure. It would have been about work, health, using your sound mind, being a blessing to people, bringing technology, heaven on earth. What this man said is the truth. So when a friend starts a week, let's all come together, celebrate them, and bring resources for their business to start. But rather, it's baby things you bring. In the name of bright price, you carry beans, you carry cloth, and you carry to husband down. Continue.
You're going to.
Is there a question there? Moving on to the next one, I call it life's responsibility truth. Life's responsibility truth. But this is foundational because every one of us adult humans were made in the image of God Almighty. And since God is a leader, all of us, especially female entities, that is naturally you sisters, spiritually we pastors, leadership is who we are supposed to be. And you see what leadership is all about. You see another reason why people cannot manage faithful ministers, they cannot manage coins, they cannot manage Jerusalems, they cannot manage fulfillers of their purpose. Because this is what they do. This is what a guru will do. This is what a queen will do for other women and for the men that courts them. This is what faithful ministers will do for God's flock under their shepherdship. You see why many people can't manage the untouchables. Because when they see that they are the one that provide the slab, they will believe it's because they are superior. That's why the queen is doing it. That's why the guru is doing it. That's why the faithful minister is doing it. No, no. It's about leadership. It's about setting examples. That's why Christ said, he that will be the best, let him be the servant for. I hope we're all blessed to see that life is about service, please.
Yes, sir.
The next one, I call it adult connection truth. Adult connection truth. And to illustrate this, I'm bringing up that hand of untouchables. These untouchables, they are actually not just untouchables. They are people, once you meet them, never, even if they push you, glue yourself back. I hope we can see that on our screens, please.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Now, I will read this study quote. Then I will also show you a scripture, which is what made the apostles to be faithful. That was the error that Judas fell into. Now, starting with the quote first. The quote says, whoever is bringing out the best in you. What is the remaining part of this quote?
Stay connected.
Connected with them.
Stay connected to them. Whoever. And let me tell you, people of God, the 5 people that are represented by these fingers of this hand gurus, which are adult humans who are an addict of using their sound mind. A sound-minded woman, a queen. Any safe adult, that truth is their God, and a faithful minister is their number one. A faithful minister or special adults who are like kids. If you ever meet any of these, Satan will do everything for you to disconnect. Never try it. And it goes in this grace. If you disconnect with a guru, connecting with a queen will cover up for you. Okay? If you disconnect from a queen, when you connect with somebody that is born again, or if it's you that gets born again, the same thing. But faithful pastors, Jerusalem, there's no way. That's why Christ in Matthew 10 mentioned the two. Say there's nothing you can do for or against a faithful minister that you won't feel the consequences or reward. Ditto a child. This is an example of Jerusalem. See, there's nothing you do for or against them that you won't get the reward or the consequences. Let me read the scripture. I'm reading from John's Gospel, chapter 6. John's Gospel, chapter 6. John's Gospel, chapter 6. And specifically, verse 66. Interesting, 666. John chapter 6, verse 66. Are we there, please?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
In John chapter 6, verse 66, in one of the times when Christ was on earth fulfilling his purpose, something happened, which will always happen to a fulfiller of your purpose. Anytime you are fulfilling your purpose, expect this. Some of us, when this happens, we think something has gone. Nothing went wrong. It's just what goes with you fulfilling your purpose. Okay?
Yes.
And I read. It says, from that time, after the word time, what was the next word?
Many.
Again?
Many.
Many.
Many. Now, when you use the word many, is it above half or lesser than half?
Above her. Above her.
Above.
Above half, which means a majority.
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir.
You see that you can never
Yes, sir.
associate quantity with righteousness. You can't say because majority believes in a cause, it is right. That's why to fulfill your purpose, you might have to, and all of us have that strength, you might have to be ready to go alone. You might be ready to do it alone. Be ready to say no to family, friends, because of people will not understand, and you can't control what people believe or not about you. There's no guarantee that people will agree with you. So in verse 67, Christ now said, then said Christ unto the 12. Slide 10. And Christ said unto the 12, will you also go away? Do you know why Christ could say that? Because it's a female entity. And sisters,
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Yes, sir.
if pastors can say that to God's flock in a spiritual relationship, if you're a queen, you should be ready to say that to the men in your life. You should be able to tell the men in your life, you are free to go. If you can't bring yourself to say that, then it shows that you're a slave. But look at what Apostle Peter, which is why he hand made number one. That is why, even as a pastor, if I have some spot for a particular God's flock, that's not what will make the person to be number one. It's the person's followership of me because of the truth. Just like why you, a woman, should agree, influence a man because the man had faith in you more than any other man would do. That is it. He said, and Simon Peter answered him and said, Lord, he didn't say Jesus, he didn't disrespect him because of how simple Christ was. No, they couldn't tell the difference between Christ. That's why I keep on telling you. It's not because somebody is simple or come to your level, you will disrespect the person. You had always wanted to disrespect the person. Why didn't Christ disrespect Christ? Upon the, you see people over the years, they walk away from me. They said the way I talk to them. And I always ask, okay, I talk to you out of feeling, I'm sorry, but guess what? Did I call you Satan? A pastor called the flock Satan, and the flock still became number one. Because all of us adults, we have it, That's why I brought this hand of influence you are seeing on your screen. Because whatever your God figure is, it will determine who are your friends. It will determine who you have faith in to provide services for you. It will determine who shares a grace like you are following as an example. For men, it will determine who is their wife figure. And for all of us saved adults, it will determine who you follow as your pastor. It's your God figure that determines these things. These fingers, you can't get away from them unless your God figure changes. That is why once you're a female letter, I keep on telling pastors, I keep on telling women, you that you're supposed to be people's mentor or service provider or people's friend. Once you see that they've lost faith in you, it's not going to work. Because it's them determined. It's their God figure determined, not you. So you see what Apostle Peter said. And Simon Peter answered him and said, Lord, to whom shall we go? Of course, there are other ministers at that time. But say, where are we going? Say, you have what? The words of eternal life. Because that is what they want. Eternal life. And that's what they stalk. How? We understand why I brought this up. So going back to that quote, that makes a lot of
Yes,
sense.
sir.
That when is any of these untouchables, but the only way you will fulfill this quote is when truth is your God. But if truth is not your God, you won't be connected. But when truth is your God, you meet a guru, you connect. As a man, you meet a queen, you connect. When you meet somebody that's a fulfiller of their purpose, you connect. When you meet a faithful minister, you connect. You meet in Jerusalem, you connect. I hope we are blessed with this place.
Yes, sir.
The next quote, which is worthy of building a foundation on, I call it deceitfulness of religion. Deceitfulness of religion. Deceitfulness of religion. So many people find this interesting because I'm supposed to be a religious figure. No. I always tell people I'm a truth or Christ figure or truth teller, not a religious figure. 150 and 151. Are they all? Okay. I hope we can see this on our screen, please.
Yes, sir.
And it says, so people don't need religion. Religion needs people. Religions are just corporations and they need your money to thrive. Religion doesn't make you a better person. Intelligence and kindness. You see the truth here, male and female. That's what I'm saying. It's truth that matters, not the source of it. Say intelligence and kindness is what makes you a better person. Just like what we're talking about, hypocrisy and right. A nice but stupid person is still not as evil as a smart but wicked person. That's it. Religion doesn't feed the poor. It's only good people with big heart that do that. Just remember that. I go over it again. Religion doesn't need people doesn't need religion. Religion is what needs people. Religion are just corporations and they need your money to thrive. Religion doesn't make you a better person. Intelligence and kindness does. Religion doesn't feed poor. Good people with big hearts do that. Just remember that. How we are good with that.
Yes, sir.
The next one, I call it sad humanity truth. Sad humanity truth. Sad humanity truth. I hope we can see that on our screen, please.
Yes, sir.
And it says, we are all like books. Most people only see our cover. The minority only read the introduction. Many people believe the critics. Only few know our content. This is amplified in Matthew chapter 7, where Christ says that we should not be quick to judge people, so that we too will not be judged in that same way. What this quote is about, before you connect or disconnect with people, do your research. Make sure that there are people that are worthy of your connection, so that you won't end up connecting with the wrong or disconnecting from the right. How we are blessed with this list.
Yes, sir.
The next one, I call it sad unrepentant truth. Remember what I've shared with us from time to time concerning forgiveness and repentance. That contrary to what religion deceives us to think the two are tied. When you forgive people, it's for your own good. You see, sometimes people say they forgive, but they're still bitter. That's not forgiveness. People say they forgive, you're not telling the person what they did. That's not forgiveness. You forgive for people. Then repentance too is also for the person that did wrong. Some people, because you forgive them, they don't want to change their way. You see some people, that's another area of hypocrisy. Some people will say sorry, but they don't mean it. But you see, you that you didn't say sorry because you are not sorry, you are worse because it's still wrong. As long as it's a wrong thing, it's only if it is right that you not apologizing is totally lie. But once it's something wrong, the fact that you didn't say sorry just because you didn't mean to say sorry, the fact that it's wrong is worse darkness than the person that says sorry yet they did not mean it. And it says, because I'm the one that gave you that title, Sad on Repentance, but the title of this quote, based on Proverbs 28, verse 13. God said, the faithful man of God. Proverbs 13 says, he that cover up his sin will not succeed in whatever they do. Who that acknowledge and forsake them shall have mercy. And it's titled Fake Repentance. And the mark of it, the sixth mark of it, no change, no remorse, justifying your error, repeating your error, and looking for others to side with you in your error. And finally, blaming the person you ought. I believe this blesses us, please. So we know what to stay away from. The next one, I call it female entities disconnection truth. Now, why female entity? In any relationship you are, as a female, once you're a female entity, it's not your duty to sustain the relationship. What did I just say about female entities, please?
It's not my duty to sustain the relationship.
It's not my duty to sustain the relationship.
Once you're a female entity in a relationship, and that's why you see a lot of times I use you sisters because you are female entity in natural relationship with men. And my humble self and my colleagues, because we pastors in spiritual relationship we are female entity. And every sister and every pastor out there, you should be ready to do this in order to stay being a queen and stay being a faithful minister. You sadly see that it's men that tend to do this. And God's flock when they are relating with faithful ministers. He says it's all fun and games until I'm unreachable, until I'm unavailable and uninterested. That's the truth. In fact, all those untouchables, the five, they are actually female entity to whoever is relating to them. So it's like that other quote that people that are going to bring the best, which are the untouchables, don't ever disconnect from them. And if you want to preserve yourself as untouchable, have this part of you to be able to know when somebody they are done with you so that you will move on to preserve the angels you carry. The next one, I call it hilarious example truth. And this is very true. I've told us, I still said it earlier today, that once you are an adult human being, God can use you depending on your free will choices. Of course, what is general? Okay? God's presence is with all of God is on all. God is on all of us by ability. And when you get it, God is in you. But it's God for you in what you are doing. It's different. And it says, no matter how bad you are not useless. You can still be used as a bad example. And it's true. At least when you do wrong and you see the consequences, others will learn. There are people who will not go that route again because they know that when this so person went this route, this was the consequences. It's hilarious but very truthful. The next one from the great friend of mine, I call it adult carelessness truth. And this is very true. This is where carefulness or carelessness, even though when you are careless, you are still in the life, but you're on a low level. The innocent, the confused, the weakling, they are higher than you. And that's what the scripture says every single day. We should check ourselves whether we are still in the faith. What is our faith? What is the God factor in our life? What are the essential? Our pastoral figure for men, our wife figure. For all of us, our mentor figure, our service provider, our friends figure. Those are the influences in our lives. That's why I told you, sister, it's easier for you to make it because your own influence is just 4. But for men, it's 5. And it says we can't live carelessly and not expect Satan to take advantage of us. It's impossible. That's what Apostle Paul said in Ephesians 4. Say, don't give place to the devil. I hope this bless us.
Question.
The next one, very serious but sad. Because if we that are humans like God could be guilty of it, yet animals who are much lower, no animal is going with you to eternity. If there are animals in heaven on them, okay, they are not the animals you see on earth. So if animals on earth will not do some of these things, why should we? And please, animal professor in the house, please, madam, please verify whether
Yes,
what
sir.
is said here about a dog is true. Is it true or not, ma'am?
It is, sir.
Now that you are hearing from somebody who is a guru in that area. I checked this out myself, it's very true. And see what this code says. Say if you pick a starving dog and make him prosperous, such a dog will never bite you. Say this is the principal difference between a dog and a man. A man here refers to an adult human being. It's sad. It's sad. I told you, till tomorrow, there are things I use in publishing this truth, which I got from people who I used to be their pastor, even though they work, even though I'm the one that's a blessing to them. But because whatever they brought on board is based on the truth, on the integrity, I held on to it. So you can imagine if it's reverse, that they are the one that was a blessing to me, the way I was a blessing to them. I can never walk away, no matter the issue. But as adult human beings, you see men, they forget what a woman has done for them. God's flock suddenly forget. And spiritual life is, because a pastor doesn't come out to tell you what he did for you spiritually, doesn't mean he didn't do anything. Just like a man will feel because you're providing for a woman, the woman needs to know. If it's possible, God would have said so. When you take care of the woman, you are taking care of yourself. The same way when it's a faithful minister, there's nothing you can do. That's a favor. It's yourself you are blessing. The more you sacrifice, the more you are blessing yourself, the more you are going to be blessed. Unless the minister is not a faithful minister. Just like unless the woman is not a queen. So I hope we're encouraged with this, please. At least if we beat a record, let's beat a dog's record. What a dog will not do, we adult humans shouldn't be doing it. The next one, I call it adult uprightness truth. Adult uprightness truth. I hope we can all see this on our screens, please. And it says your words start to lose value when your actions don't match. Now, this is under faith. But you see, because of religion especially, we think what we say or what we pray about is the ultimate. That's not true. It's our action that is ultimate. In fact, let me tell you, people of God, what you say or what you prayed about, okay, is only greater than what you are seeing with your eyes or you are seeing in your spirit as a vision or goal. Your free will action supersede. Like now, if you act hatred, but you are saying love, you are a hateful person. If you say hatred, but you are acting love, you are a loving person. That's what this is saying. And I hope we are blessed with this. Now,
Yes, sir.
getting to natural relationship, which is a reflection of spiritual relationship. Relationship between men with their wife figure is the same natural example of how God's flock should be to their pastoral figure. I hope we can see this on our screen, please.
Yes.
The first one, I call it hilarious marriage truth. It's the truth, and it's true because it's not an essential. It's required for men, it's elective for women. I hope we're all good with this, please. And it says, don't rush into marriage. It's not money assembly. Latecomers are allowed. Take your time. Very truthful. It's better you sisters that you don't need it. You see women that will be getting there, be taking a bed, feeling bad. Because your mom says so doesn't mean God says so. You are an adult. I hope all the centers are back for good place.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Because before the disconnect was that hilarious marriage too. Don't rush into marriage. It's not money assembly. Latecomers are allowed. Take your time. So therefore, you sisters that you don't even need it, you are turning it into a compulsory and hating this your pastor for telling you the truth. The next one, I call it marriage necessity truth. Marriage necessity truth. I hope we can see this on our screen, please.
Yes, sir.
And I love this. It says there is no law that says thou shalt marry, and it's true. In the 10 commandments, it's not there. No, it's really you have honor your as adult, honor your father and your mother. Is that not it? Did you see thou shalt marry there?
No.
Did you see thou shalt have children there?
No.
Ah. See, because culture says so doesn't mean God says so. And don't waste your life. Don't let tears and blood flow before you learn this lesson. You have a purpose to fulfill. You are here for a reason. And that reason is bigger than what you have been told. And this says it's better to stay unmarried than to put everybody in crisis. Very true. Because the man you agree for, you will waste his life. You that looking for a slave, he will destroy you. You people like me telling the truth, you will hate me for it because I'm telling the truth. I hope we are blessed with this.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
The next one, brothers, this is for you. But sisters, you need this too because some of you will be saying, thank you for making me pregnant. You know, you will not feel good because you have kids that look like a man. No man can do you a favor, sisters. That's just the truth. Woman. I remember some years ago I preached this message somewhere and I had an interesting reaction. You know, a sister was telling me that I must be jealous of men that have submissive women. That's why I'm preaching this. And I was laughing. If I would be jealous, then I should be jealous of queens. I should be jealous of women billionaires. All right, so brothers, this is yours. He says, if you're a father is not fatherhood in the real context. Before you say, Pastor, I say fatherhood is male and female. That's when you will know that fatherhood is male. I mean, daddy, what the word called father, okay? You impregnating a woman. That's what this one means. I hope we are getting it. And sisters, don't go and say it's your agenda and take this of your own. So if you're a daddy, everything you do for your child is not a favor to the mother. That's another thing. Because the woman has been deluded, you'll be thanking him. Who's supposed to pay the bill? He's supposed to pay. He's the one that should thank you if you help him out. He's the one that, go and read the scripture, sisters. He's a man that doesn't take care of his wife and children, that has denied the faith, not you. It's his responsibility. So rather than feel that, just encourage, thank him for doing his purpose. Just like when any of you that your pastor, that's how I thank you for doing what is right. But it's not as if you are doing me a favor. So if you are going to thank him so that you will encourage him. But not as if he's doing you a favor. This is the truth. Again, if you're a daddy, everything you do for your child is not a favor to the mother, it's your responsibility. And because you have a balanced picture, before you say I'm biased, I'm giving you something now. As God's flock. Something that will come. Or so sisters, this is your own, okay? And I call it women's self-sufficiency truth. And you can see this is coming from one of your own. So it's not coming from a man who you are accusing of being jealous of the beast in your life. This is for you sisters. He said, don't wait for someone to bring you what?
Flowers.
Flowers. It's so bad now. Why should you debase yourself? Why should you allow a man to humiliate you in the name of his marriage? You can't make your own money, you can't move freely. And you say it's not slavery. Because society told you to, does that make sense? And he said, don't wait for someone to be plant your own garden and decorate your own soul. Even if a man does that for you, it's them that will be blessed. Just like now, if any of you take care of you are the one that will be blessed. As long as I'm a true preacher. It's as ridiculous me believing that you are doing me a favor when you take care of me. Just like you sisters, when you believe a man is doing you a favor. So I hope we are blessed with this study course today.
Yes, sir.
Now let's move on to the regular codes, please. Because these regular codes, we know what they are meant for. They are actually watering, okay, to illustrate all the truth we've learned today, so that the digestion in our study and meditation can be the best. I hope we are good with that, people of God, please.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
And to also encourage us that it's the truth that matters, not why the truth, how the truth, when the truth, who the truth, or where. And the first one, today I call it adult company truth. You see, religion will not make us to understand the scriptures. What did I say religion will not make us to do?
to understand that.
And I will give two examples. The first example is from 1 Corinthians 15:33, which says, evil communications corrupt good manners. When you are looking at that scale from religion, it's the evil you will see. You will not know that what it means is that whatever company you keep is what you will end up. That's why I just say, if it's wrong company, that's how you need to corrupt you. But it's the same power if it's the right company. Another scripture that religion does is this. When it says, open rebuke is better than secret love. What you will see there is rebuke. But what that scripture is saying, whatever you can be bold to do freely and willingly, openly, is greater than what you do in the secret. That is why I'm your numero, I'm your pastor. If boldly you are for me, than for boldly you back off me, but in secret you are for me. That's how it is. And that's what this make this quote to be true. It says, surround yourself with people that talk about ideas and vision, not gossip, not evil, not even about death of their enemy, not about marriage, family, childbirth, but about ideas and vision. Because that's why we're here. I hope this blesses us.
Yes.
The next one, I call it adult completeness truth. Because as an adult human being, that's what a man here means, okay? It means an adult. He said, as a man that is an adult, as a general rule, owes very little to what he or she is born with. That's all this religious thing. You are born an African, born an Oyibo, your meaning of your name. All those are nonsense. It's what you do with your life as an adult that matters. And that's what he said. He said, a person is what he or she makes of himself or herself. Not your birthday. It's about your birth purpose. What did I say it's about? It's about your birth purpose. The next one, I call it adult correction truth. Adult correction truth. In fact, this is one of the reasons why humility is the foundational virtue. Because in humility, once you're humble, you see yourself the way God sees you. Not higher and not lower. And see what this says. But this is attributed to this late sage, a kung fu fighter in his days. He said, do not correct a fool or he will hate you. Correct a wise person and such a person will appreciate you. It's true. Because when you're humble, you will know that while you're not, all of us make mistakes. And people that will tell us the truth should be all of our best friends. The next one, I call it adult dignity truth. Of course, I've told us as an adult, you are God Almighty in the flesh. You are highest authority over your own life, not somebody else's life, and over the natural realm. So what does that mean? If you're in any situation, whether somebody is going to degrade you, just move on. That's what this is talking about. It says sometimes you have to live, not for ego or pride, but for self-respect. That's why there are ways nobody should talk to you, no matter who they are. Even if they're a woman and they have a higher grace than you as a man, or they're a flock, they have higher grace than you as a pastor. There are ways people should not talk to you. Or if you're a woman and because the man has a privilege to be the husband, But the pastor has privilege to be your pastor, and you follow such a person. They don't have, as things they should not say to you. I hope we are good with this, please.
Yes.
The next one, I call it adults discipline truth. Adults discipline truth. I hope we can see this, please.
Yes, sir.
And it says discipline, and see the definition, the ability to execute regardless of how you feel. That is it. That is, your feeling is feeling of anger. Discipline is when you're able to remain sane and calm and not say what you don't mean and mean what you say, which is what the scripture talks about, studying to be quiet. At the same time, the other side too is true. When you're disciplined, even though you feel like holding on, but the signal is that you are not wanted, that you are constituting a nuisance than a blessing. Discipline will make you to execute the appropriate action, independent of your fear. The next one, I call it adults disconnection truth. And this is very true because when you realize who you are as an adult, you will realize that we all have a spiritual part to us as well as a natural part. And sometimes when we make decisions to move on from people, it's beyond personal. It's based on spiritual fact. Like there are many times I try to tell people under my shepherdship that some of my actions and statements is not because I'm a man. It's because I'm a fulfiller of my purpose. That's why we say things or do things or relate to them. And I will expect them to do it in a particular way. Because it's not personal. It's beyond personal. I hope this blesses us.
Yes, sir.
So sometimes a cutoff isn't personal, it's spiritual. The next one, which is hilarious but very truthful, I call it adults envy truth. And it says, what they hate in you is missing in them, keep shining. And it's true. Normally, because of the fall of man, it's because of the fall of man, an average adult, unless they are saved, unless they have sound mind, okay, unless they are part of the untouchable, once another person has something they don't have, they generate envy. That's why you see most people when they talk about maybe people they see as successful, it's because those one maybe have money or something they don't have. Or when they talk about their relationship because they have the kind of wife or a husband they don't have. Or spiritually they have the kind of gift or congregation they don't have. But if you are the type, don't let it slow you down. Keep on doing the right thing. That's what this means. Okay, so what the hate is what is missing. Keep shining. The next one, I call it adults foolishness truth. This is what I always say. Any of us or not, including my humble self, even though many of my colleagues wants to look like they miss every God, they will not want you to believe they can make mistake. Okay?
Okay, sir.
But you see, it's foolishness to get to that point that you believe you can never be wrong. It says anybody can make mistake, but only an idiot persists in his error. Very true. Very true. That's why when we started today, and let's keep on remembering, faith is given to work with truth, not against truth. And why you feel good over a matter is not based on truth, it's based on your faith. Just make sure, regardless of what you feel, make sure it's the right and the truth. The next one, which is confirm what I said earlier about forgiveness. I call it adults forgiveness truth. Say forgiving someone will cost you your pride, but not forgiving them will cost you your freedom. It's true. Because it's you that your soul will be tormented. It's you that will be bitter. It's you that will be angry. It's you that will start saying things you shouldn't say. Your persona changes from being a pleasant person to a nasty person. Just like when I talked about repentance earlier. When people do wrong, repent for your own sake, not because of you think the person you are saying sorry to will win. The same when people offend you, you forgive. Leave them. If they persist in their own error, they are the one that will destroy their lives. But you forgive them so that you can be free. The next one, I call it adult genuineness truth. And this says, we all pick our friends, but real situations, we sort them out. And it's true. What that means is that, of course, picking your friends is based on your own faith in them, okay? But whether they deserve being your friend or not is situations that will sort them out. Because if they deserve being your friend, they will also have faith in you. And in your time of need, they will stay by you. I hope we are good people of God, please. I hope we are good people of God.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
The next one, I call it adult holiness truth. Adult holiness truth. And it says, stepping away from toxicity can be the hardest and smartest thing you ever do. It's true. One of the things the scripture encourage is that we should keep our soul pure. And sometimes we find ourselves in toxic relationships, in toxic situations, which our faith is in. But we need to step away. It can be very hard, but it's also the smartest thing to do. Because each and every one of us, adult human being, our life is marked to succeed or fail based on our faith and who or what we have our faith in. The next one, I call it adult humanity truth. Adult humanity truth. I've said this to us that I believe the reason why we are called human beings is because we are supposed to be humane. To be humane means to be nice, to treat people with decency, with respect. And see what this great man says here. Say the most improper job of any man, even saints, is bossing other people. Are you seeing that? Even though we accept it in our culture, it's not right, it's not proper. And if you are like me, that people take advantage of the fact that you don't boss them, don't let it discourage you. It's the right thing to do. Not one in a million is fit for it. He says even one person in a million shouldn't be bossed. And least of all, those who seek the opportunity. That is that people want to be bossed. Doesn't mean rent your clothes. And I hope men and pastors are listening. Because women and God's flock wants to be bossed. Doesn't mean it's right. Because they take advantage of you because you don't boss them. Doesn't still mean you are doing the wrong thing. The next one, I call it adults individuality truth. I love this. I love the way it's put. social media is on. Okay. Should I go on or wait? Okay. This next one, I call it adults individuality truth. And I love the way it's put. It says, stop expecting you from people. Very, very true. Even though we are all adults, you must share similar grace with somebody. Man, woman, unsaved, saved, pastor, flock, publisher, assistant, handmaid. But you are still unique, no matter the similarity with another adult. Again, it says, stop expecting you from people. I hope we are good with this, people of God, please.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
The next one, I call it adult integrity truth. And it says, our culture has accepted two huge lies. How many kind of lies? Two huge lies. So the first is that if you disagree with someone's lifestyle, you must fear or hate them. And it's true. The second is that when you love someone, means you must agree with everything they believe or do. Both are nonsense. You don't have to compromise your conviction to be a friend of what is true. It's a faith thing. It's a faith thing. That's why you see everybody, you are either a beast or a slave. We are never supposed to be any of the two. That's what I always say, for the fact that God's flock under my shepherdship can walk away. It might be painful, but I'm okay. I know that heaven is secured. Because for them to have that freedom to walk, even though they might do it the wrong way, but at least they still have their soul intact. I hope we are blessed with this place.
Yes, sir.
The next one, I call it adult judgment truth. Of course, the scripture says in the book of Ecclesiastes that a wise man discerns time and judgment. And this quote says, some of the best advice I've been given is don't take criticism from people you will never go to for advice. And it's true. Because if somebody is not qualified to advise you, why should they be qualified to criticize you? Another one about leadership, which is what makes you a guru, a queen, born again, a faithful minister, and untouchable. It says signs of a good leader. Number one, a good leader will always admit when they are wrong. Not if they are wrong. Not as if you not be admitting what is not your responsibility. But when you're wrong, you admit it. And two, you look to solve the problem, not blame. Beautiful one. The next one, I call it adult loyalty truth. Adult loyalty truth. These are all faith stuff. If you have faith in people, this is what you will do. And he said, don't tell me what they said about me. Tell me what you said to defend me. And it's true. Because if you have faith in someone, this is what you do. And we all have the capacity for this. That's why I said earlier that what and how we react to people is not what they did or said or we heard about them. It's what and how we see them. The next one is adult manipulation truth. And it says, this hit me like a brick. Manipulation is when they blame you for your reaction to their toxic behaviors, but they will never discuss their disrespect that triggered you. It's true. That's why even God that made us says we adult human beings, we are a bunch of something else. But we do it to God too. We won't do the right thing when something has happened. Say, God, where are you? The next one, I call it adult maturity truth. And it says a part of maturity is learning to love some people from a distance, to keep their well-being in your prayers, but taking the part away from them. It's true. Because some people, because of the way they see you, which is higher than the way you see them. Even in the Old Testament, Solomon said, he said, refrain your feet from your neighbor's house. Because if they see you too often, they will disrespect you. That's why all of us have people that will see us every day and they will be happy. The moment they leave, they want to see you the next day. And there are people who don't want to see you, who detest you, who, if they're around you, they will even want you to know that you are around the area. And the next one, I call it adult mind truth. Of course, all of us adult human beings, our mindset, which is the main version of what we are today, is what our mindset was yesterday. And what you will be tomorrow is what your mindset was. That's why I said to have the best remaining half of this year, correct your mindset now. That's what we determine from tomorrow, July 3rd to December 31st, 2023. And it says your mind is a weapon. Keep it loaded. Very true. This other one too is also like that. You see the same situation, rain falling without a protection, and see three different reactions. People have been erroneously deceived that it's your condition that makes you know, it's your mindset. That's why situation that people reject, somebody will be in that situation and they will embrace it and succeed in it. And say your biggest asset in the world is your mindset. And the final one today, because of our time, we'll continue, God willing, on Wednesday. I call it adult originality truth. This is very scriptural. Even though we are all God Almighty in the natural realm over our own, we are still unique. That's why comparing yourself with somebody else is a no-go area if you are going to make it. Others might encourage, they might inspire you, but don't compare yourself. Be your own person. Be responsible for your own action. That's why God said, come out and be ye separate, and I will receive you. Say it. That's why you see me. I preach this truth not because others preach it or I want to copy others. Others preach it, they might encourage me. But you see, I still do my own study, do my own research, and say the truth. The same way you follow me as I follow Christ. Let it be not because somebody else or everybody around you are doing it or not. Because of your own personal conviction and love for the truth. It's well with us, people of God. It's have a victorious field, testimonials field, remaining half of 2023. And please remember that the way God as fatherhood is male and female almost also means seed and fruit, seed time and harvest time. Let the first half that has ended yesterday be seed for victories, reposition yourself to fulfill your purpose from tomorrow, July 3rd to December 31st. Stay blessed and stay raptured with the people of God. We all see you on Wednesday, please.
That's it.